What up, nerds? Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative. My name is Leslie, and today on the channel it's time for my weekly reads. This is just a quick little chat where I'll talk about all of the things I've been reading over the last week, and hopefully something here I've picked up that I'm going to chat about is something that's going to make its way onto your TBR. That is the hope. I always hope I'm able to help you discover your next favorite read. So let's talk about what I finished. So I've been working on Between Two Fires by Christopher Buehlman for about a week or so. I finally finished that one. I listened to the audiobook. It was amazing. And if you pick this book up, I would absolutely recommend going the audiobook route. It's just written in that style that's meant, or maybe not meant, that's a bad word. I think it sounds better in a told format as someone is telling you this story. If you're a fan of religious horror, if you're a fan of stories that involve the war between heaven and hell, angels and demons and devils, I think you might would like this story. It had such a surprising yet beautiful, tragic ending. It was perfection, in my opinion. I absolutely loved it. And the reason why I call it religious horror is at some point there comes the turning point in the story where it gets really dark, and oh man, when it gets dark, that is just the best time for the light to shine. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I also started and finished Antimatter Blues by Edward Ashton. This book was such a delight. If you've read Mickey 7, the first book in the series, if you read that and you loved it, you're absolutely going to love Antimatter Blues if you hadn't picked it up yet. I'm behind. This one's been out for a while and I've just picked it up because I'm going to see the movie. By the time you're watching it, I'm about to go see the movie. I'm seeing it Sunday afternoon. I cannot wait. So yeah, Antimatter Blues. Same great humor as the first book, same great characters as the first book, and the stakes are a little bit higher. I was completely unprepared for how this one went. I thought I knew with the way that Mickey 7 ended. I'm like, okay, I know what's going to happen in the next book. This one picks up 2 years later. It is a great continuation of this colony that has landed on this planet they call Niflheim, and they're trying to determine if they're going to be able to set up a colony there to live, and they're running out of time because they need to start thawing out babies. Unfortunately, they're not doing well surviving, and they have to have a certain amount of adult humans to survive in order to start raising the babies. Oh my goodness, it's so good. It's so unexpected. Again, another unexpected turn that I just never even considered a possibility. I also like the way that Edward Ashton reflects how colonialism, how that is received by the indigenous life on Niflheim, and how the colony that's trying to settle there, their viewpoints on it. I just thought it was a nice, subtle way of talking about that issue and bringing light to the fact that it still exists today. And if we were ever to discover a planet out there in our solar system that was like Earth, you can bet Elon Musk is going to have people up there setting up shop. They're going to move the next Tesla plant out there. Y'all know how it is. But one more quick thing about Antimatter Blues. If you read Mickey 7 and you were interested in the Expendables, which is what Mickey Barnes is, he's what's known as an expendable. He downloads his brain into a computer and he goes out and does all of the really dangerous things, because if he dies, they just make a new one. They print a new body out of protein matter and they download his consciousness into this. And we learn a lot more about that process, about why they can't just pick and choose. Like, they can't say, we need Mickey to know how to do this profession in order to go do this dangerous job. We're just going to take this knowledge from this one person and put it in his head. You can't do that. And it explains why it would have to be all or nothing, and how it would be if you tried to download a whole other person's consciousness into you. What if their fundamental beliefs about the world differed from yours? I really enjoyed learning more about that, so I encourage you, if you've been dragging your feet picking up the sequel to Mickey 7, now's a great time, especially if you're planning on seeing the movie like I am. Now, moving into what I'm still currently reading. I am just about done with the Watchmen graphic novel. I think I have 2 more chapters left and I'll be finished. I'm planning on reading a chapter later this afternoon. I'll read the other one in the morning and get that finished. This one has really gotten good. There was a big reveal in the chapter that I read yesterday that shocked me. I guess I forgot about that from the movie, or I wonder if they changed that plot line in the movie. Now I'm gonna have to rewatch the movie and see what they did different. I remember I really enjoyed the movie, which is why I wanted to pick up the graphic novel, but it's been a very interesting read throughout this story of Rorschach and these other masked heroes. I would call them heroes. They have been disbanded. They were disbanded by the Keene Act in 1977, and so they all hung up their mask except for Rorschach. Rorschach was determined he was going to continue to live his life free from compromise, and he was going to still continue to do the things that needed to be done in order to maintain justice, some semblance of it, at least from his viewpoint. He is such a unique individual, and you first meet him and you think, this guy's off his rocker. He belongs in the loony bin. You should just discount him. But then you find out that all along, he's the one who was right the entire time. So looking forward to finishing that graphic novel. And then another book that I have just been completely enraptured in since I started it is Wish Givers by Shannon Knight. I am over halfway through this one and I am in love. I liked it from the very first chapter. I'm happy to say that feeling has continued as I've made my way through the book. Oh my goodness. In addition to the Wish Givers, which is a tribe called the Mali, they are able to grant wishes of others by putting the tattoo on the person who's making the wish, but that wish giver also receives that same tattoo on their body, and they're only allowed to grant as many wishes as they have space on their body. They're not allowed to grant their own wishes. I have really loved learning how this magic system works. Now, this story in particular follows Riva. She's the main character, and her goal is this leader, for lack of better words, I guess you could call him the emperor, the ruler of this island nation, has wished, or actually his ancestor wished, that only the Ala'i could make wishes. And this Ala'i has taken the Mali and holds them in captivity, and it is the absolute worst. They're kept in pits in the grounds underneath the Pink Palace. Riva has been hiding with the rest of their what's left of their clan, and she's decided she's come to the Pink Palace. She's let herself be known what she is, and she's determined to give this Ala'i everything he wants. But she's doing it with the intent to basically capture him in his own net, pretty much trying to get him to release her people by wishing it so, if that makes any sense. I have no idea if she's going to be able to do it or not. I just know that she went in by herself. She only had herself to look after. But as she's staying in this palace and she's trying to carry out her plan, she's meeting more and more people, and she's realizing her tribe are not the only people that are being held in servitude against their wishes, pun intended, and she's starting to care about other people. So now she's not just looking out for her own skin and her tribe that's being held there. She's starting to want to free other people, and I am just loving it. Just absolutely loving it. So Watchmen, I should finish tomorrow. Wish Givers, I might finish tomorrow as well. I've been flying through that one. So that brings me to what am I going to read next? Later today, I'm actually planning to go ahead and get started on Ships of Mirror by Janie Wertz. This is the second book in the Wars of Light and Shadow epic fantasy series that I'm reading. My plan is, because I almost like to study this as I read it, I'm planning to take it in just a few pages, just a small chunk per day, so that I can just think about what I'm reading. My experience with the first book is I did a lot of rereading. I would read things 2 or 3 times just to make sure they're sinking in and I'm understanding it correctly. And in the live show, I realized I still missed things or did not understand them correctly, which is fine. I mean, I'm a rereader, so I'm looking forward to finishing the series so I can start it over and reread it again and see just how much I actually did miss. But I'm going to be kicking off my first time reading Ships of Merrier probably later today. I'm going to read this one very slowly. It may carry over a little bit into April, but I am so excited to see what's going to happen next. The way that the first book ended, I don't know. I predict. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because I know I'm going to be wrong. I'm always wrong with my predictions. So I'm just going to stop there and say I'm going to start this one. But you can bet next week if what I predict or what I was thinking of predicting is true, I'm going to let you know all about it. I'm also going to be starting, once I finish Wish Givers, my next book that I'm going to be focusing hard and heavy on is The Third Rule of Time Travel by Philip Fracassi. I've been talking about that one for a few weeks now. Really excited to read that one. Also on this list is a highly anticipated sequel for me. It's Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man by Jessie Q. Sutanto. I am so excited to get back into this world with Vera. I love her. I love her so much. I'm actually going to have to plan a night out, some dinner with Chris, where we go get some of the wonderful Asian cuisine. I remember when I read the first book, it made me so hungry. One of the things that Vera loved to do for others, even though she was investigating them for murder, she cooked for them. And it just brought so much comfort, and it would make these characters feel some kind of way. And I just remember being hungry a lot for this food. So I'm going to make sure that I plan a date night for Chris and I where I get to go and partake myself because I know I'm going to want to. And then the last book I want to put on this TBR here is The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez. This was my patron pick for the month of March. It was picked by my patron Ev, who has been a member of my Patreon since the day that I started it. I had not even announced it. I had just gotten it ready. I added it to a description of the video that I put up the day that I finally finished it. Had not said anything. She saw it, joined that day. She's still a member. It's been, I want to say, 4 years now that I've had that Patreon going. Ev, thank you so much. So I am so excited to be reading this one. My friend Evie loves this author, loves this book. She sent me is it The Vanishing Birds or The Vanished Birds? I think it's called The Vanishing Birds. So I'm finally getting caught up to where I can just kind of start willy-nilly adding books to my TBR again. So if I love this one, and the next month or two, you're going to see The Vanished Birds on that list as well. So that's going to wrap it up for me this week. That's all the things that I've been reading, what I'm planning to read next. Hopefully one of these titles has struck your fancy. It's something that sounds like it would be good to you. You're going to pick it up. Or one of these books that I'm about to start reading, you are looking forward to as well. Some of them are arcs, so you bet I'm going to be out here with some reviews, let you know what my thoughts were, my experience reading the book. Hope you're excited. You're looking forward to it. I am looking forward to telling you all about it. Thank you so much for watching today. Hope you have had a wonderful weekend. Hope the rest of your day goes well, and I will see you in the next one. This channel would not be what it is today without its patrons, especially those of my top tier: Ev, Sharon, Kate, Andrew, Amanda, Ann, Tara, Star, Gail, John, Chad, Heidi, and Wilbur.